All right, today we're tackling understanding subnets, the economy of intelligence. We're going to explore how an entire economy is being built pretty much from scratch. But here's the twist. This economy doesn't trade in stuff you can touch, like goods or services. It trades in pure intelligence. Yeah, you heard that right. We're diving deep into the world of Bittensor Subnets to figure out how a global, competitive market is literally being designed to create AI.
So let's start with a big idea here. Just imagine a global marketplace. It's open 24/7, but it only sells one thing: intelligence. And look, this isn't just some sci-fi thought experiment. This is the real, fundamental concept that powers the entire Bittensor network.
So, a marketplace for intelligence. Let's ask, what exactly is Bittensor? Now, you've probably heard of it. Maybe you've written it off as just another crypto project. But trust me, it's so much more than that. A better way to think of it is like a giant machine. A machine for building and polishing up digital commodities. And these commodities can be basically anything digital. We're talking code, AI images, even financial predictions.
And you know, it's not like there's one single massive supercomputer running this whole show. Nope. The network is actually divided up really cleverly into these specialized neighborhoods, or you could call them arenas. Each one has its own specific job. And these neighborhoods, well, that's what we call subnets.
So what is a subnet really? Well, you can think of it as a purpose-built competition. It's a contest. For example, one subnet might be a competition to see who can create the most mind-blowing realistic AI images. Another one could be a flat-out race to write the most efficient computer code. Each one is its own focused little world, designed for one thing, to produce a very specific kind of intelligence.
Okay, so let's peek inside a subnet. Who are the players and what are the rules of the game? Let's break it down.
All right, so inside every single subnet, you've got two critical roles: miners and validators. The absolute easiest way to get this is with a classroom analogy. Think of the miners as the students. Their job is to take the test, right? They have to produce the digital product. So if the subnet is all about AI chatbots, the miner's job is to spit out the smartest possible answer. Then you've got the validators. These guys are the teachers, and their job is to grade the work of all those miners.
Okay, but hold on. How do you keep the grading fair? I mean, you can't just have one teacher calling all the shots, right? That wouldn't work. Well, the system has a really clever solution for this, called Yuma Consensus. Just imagine all the teachers in a school are grading the exact same paper. If one teacher slaps an F on it while everyone else gives it an A, that outlier teacher is going to get penalized. This genius system forces all the validators, the teachers, to agree, which makes sure the grades are actually fair and reflect the real quality of the work.
And what this creates is this incredible feedback loop, what we call a virtuous cycle. You've got miners who are fighting tooth and nail for the highest scores. You've got validators competing to be the most accurate graders. And all this relentless competition for rewards has one massive, crucial side effect. It is constantly forcing the AI that the subnet produces to get better and better and better.
All right, the subnet economy, how everyone gets paid. So we've got a system for making and grading intelligence. That's cool. But how does the money work? How does anyone actually get paid? This is where things get super innovative. So let's dive into the subnet economy.
This brings us to a huge network upgrade called Dynamic TAO. See, it used to be that everyone on the network was just fighting over one single currency, which is TAO. But now, with Dynamic TAO, every single subnet gets to be its own little mini economy. And that means each one has its own unique token.
So this is the really big shift, the key takeaway here. The old model, it was just a total free-for-all for that one token, TAO. But the new model, now each subnet has its own currency, an alpha token, a beta token, whatever they want to call it. And what this does is it lets investors put their money directly into the subnets they actually believe in. It's basically like a stock market for AI, where you get to vote with your wallet on the projects you think are going to be the most valuable. But wait a minute, this brings up a super important question, a potential flaw. If the rewards are all based on a subnet's token price, well, what's to stop a bunch of rich people from getting together, buying up a token to pump the price way up, and then just kicking back and collecting rewards from a totally lazy, useless subnet? It's a great question, and the network has a really elegant answer for it. It's called flow-based emissions. This was a massive update that completely changed the game for how rewards work.
So here's the deal with how this works. Instead of just rewarding a high token price, the system now rewards something called net flow. It's basically asking one simple question: is more money actively flowing into this subnet than is flowing out? A subnet only gets paid if it has a positive net flow. That's a real vote of confidence from the market. If everyone is selling their tokens and heading for the exits, boom, their funding gets cut. This whole system rewards active engagement and genuine belief, not just some static, artificially high price.
All right, a Darwinian marketplace, survival of the fittest AI. So, when you put all of these pieces together, right? The intense competition, the decentralized grading, and this brand new flow-based economy, what you end up with is something incredibly dynamic. You literally get a Darwinian marketplace.
And yeah, the result is a brutal but incredibly effective Darwinian marketplace. That phrase, brutal but effective, really hits the nail on the head. It's an environment where, let's be honest, only the strongest, the most valuable, and the most useful forms of intelligence are going to survive and thrive. There's no room for anything else.
And this competition, it's happening at every single layer. Think about it. The subnets themselves are competing against each other for investor money. Inside each subnet, you've got the miners locked in this constant battle for the best scores. At the same time, the validators are competing to prove that they are the most accurate graders. And listen, there is absolutely no room for slackers here. Anyone that performs poorly gets pruned, that's the term they use, basically kicked off the network to make room for someone better.
And this, right here, is probably the ultimate takeaway. In an ecosystem like this, it's not some boardroom full of executives in suits deciding what's valuable. No way. The market decides. The collective cash and the genuine belief of thousands of people all over the world, that's what determines which kinds of intelligence get built and which ones get rewarded.
So what we're looking at here is basically an evolving organism. It's made of code and capital, and it is optimized for one single goal, to produce valuable intelligence. And that leaves us with a really fascinating final thought to chew on. If a global, competitive market can be designed from the ground up to build intelligence, what will it build next?